Good morning friends, welcome to my channel Ideas for GD. Today we will discuss about neobanks versus traditional banks. So what is neobank? Neobanks are the banks who operates online and don't have their physical appearance. They don't have their physical branches. They provide digital and mobile first solution where they provide you the basic facilities that like payments, money transfers, and some type of money loans. Okay, now we will talk about the advantages of neobanks. Neobanks do not need any physical branches as they are technologically very advanced. Due to that, they save the overhead cost, that is the cost of running their businesses. The second thing is that they offer very low fee and provides high rate of interest in the saving accounts of their customers. Now we'll talk about the challenges of neobanks. So the main challenge of neobanks are the trust of the people. In the For the neobanks, the people of India don't trust them because they don't have the physical branches. Okay, but the traditional banks have. And the second thing is that the neobanks provide only basic financial services to their customers, like as I had already said about the basic money transfer, basic money loans, and some type of digital payments. So basically only these are the financial services provided by the neobanks. And if we talk about the technical literacy in this field, India is still at a very low position where people are not ready to to do the digital transactions. Means many people are afraid of using their smartphones for making digital transactions because of fear of getting financial loss. And the next thing is that still Reserve Bank of India has not recognized the neo banks as banks. Okay, means RBI have not given the license as a bank to these neo banks. And if we talk about the many IT companies have making their neobanks, making them as neobanks, and they target a specific type of requirement of the customers. This is advantage one advantage of neo company. And moreover, the neo banks are operating 24 hours a day, so due to that one can access anytime when they need. And the best thing about the neo bank is that it is easy to access from anywhere, from any type of smartphones. They don't have to go to the branches because it is not available. And due to the advancement of the technology, they are providing all the banking facilities in our smartphone. Now we'll talk about the traditional banks. So the traditional banks are that banks who has a who has the physical branches in our country. These are called traditional banks. Traditional banks have a domestic license also. They provide in-person customer service and management of money for the people who deposit their money into the bank's custody. Okay, and that now we'll talk about the advantages of traditional banks. Traditional banks provided a large range of financial services and products as compared to the neobanks. And the second thing is that the traditional banks are more trustworthy for the people as compared to neobanks. If we talk about the traditional banks, is they provide a large number of financial services to their customers as compared to neobanks. And the traditional banks meet the requirements of the people who are not much literate about the technicals. and the people who are living in the rural areas. uh, Traditional banks provides the solutions. Traditional banks meet the requirements of these both type of peoples, but neo banks do not provide these type of solutions to the these peoples. Now we will talk about the challenges of traditional banks. The main challenge about the traditional banks are the accessibility of people to the banks, because if we talk about the accessibility, the customer of the banks are not able to reach or not able to access their banking information after the business hours. The second thing is that traditional bank charges a higher fee and lower interest rates for their customer who has saving account in these banks. The third thing is that due even though the traditional banks have higher capital, they provide only basic services through online. Due to that, uh, the customers, many people are unable to get the financial services through online. Okay, and the next thing is that if a person has some work and he has some account in any traditional bank, so it is very inconvenient for the people to go to the branch, stay in a queue, and face different type of customer engagements and deal with many problems inside the traditional bank. So sometimes it's very inconvenient for the people, and the traditional banks have very less infrastructure to find a solution for these type of problems. Now what we are seeing that neobanks are getting partnership. Neobanks are doing partnership with the traditional banks to get the uh, to get to gain the trust of the people. Okay, and now many neobanks are providing their services through the traditional banks, and different type of financial services are also provided by neobanks with the help of traditional banks. So these are some of the steps taken by the neobanks to gain the people's trust. Now we will talk about the conclusion. As we have discussed, RBI has not given the recognition to the neobanks as banks. So if we talk about the growth of the neobank, uh, RBI should uh, RBI should recognize these neobanks as banks for their growth. And if and now if we talk about the future of the neobanks, as it will replace traditional banks or not, this depends on the uh, potential of these banks. As far as we have seen, these neobanks are very new to the industry. We are not we are not familiar, we are not too much familiar of them. So so after seeing their potential, we can able to decide what's their future. So as per me, they should get the recognition from RBI, and they should be given the opportunity to prove themselves as the alternative of the traditional banks, so that they can utilize their potential and grow their industry. This will also help the country to increase the economy, and this will also help the people to get the financial services easily from their home, from their smartphones. So these are the conclusion from my side, and that's it. Thank you.